Well, it's Thursday morning. It rained pretty good last night. There's still some wet spots on the concrete. Did some thinking about my motor. I decided that, yeah, I could put it back together with the bearing and it would run. And I could probably safely drive it in and out of the garage and maybe at low RPM. However, with this much damage to the bearing and to the connecting rod, it would only be a matter of time before it blew up. So instead, what I'm going to do today is I called my local junkyard, and he's got a pile of 5.3s and 4.8s or whatever they are. He's not really sure, but they're core engines. I think I'm going to go in and pick up 2 or 3 of them, bring them home, tear them down, figure out which one's got the best parts, and I'm going to take another free engine, or I'll probably give him $100 for it or something. But I think I'm going to put a different short block in this. I think I will buy new gaskets. I'm going to buy head studs this time. I put Felpro bolts in it, thinking that, oh, this is a relatively mild build. I won't have to tear it back apart again. So obviously this would be the second time I've had to take the heads off. The first time the head gaskets were wrong. This time I blew the bottom end up. So instead of buying another set of head bolts in the future, I'm going to put head studs in it just because I can reuse them. So I will end up spending probably another $500 on parts, but we're going to end up stripping this motor completely, pulling my cam, heads, everything out of it, and swapping it onto a different short block. I think that makes the most sense. I really have nothing invested in this bottom end of this engine. And in fact, when I took it apart, if you go back to when I was originally building it, there's a scar in the cylinder wall that I should have probably never built this engine in the first place. Well, we're off to see what we can pick up for some engines, and hopefully he's got a couple of 5.3s there that look really good, or at least one. Well, I went down and he was pretty busy, so he could only get me the one. The other one that he had a couple more, but they were connected to transmissions, and he didn't want to screw around with taking them off right now. So I said, that's cool, I'll take this one apart and see what's inside. Let's hope it's a good short block. Yeah, so fingers crossed we got ourselves a good engine, and it's a 5.3, because there is a possibility that it's a 4.8, and there's no way to really know until you pull the head, from what I've been told. Either pull the head or pull the oil pan to check the crank. The block is the same, and it's marked 4.8 and 5.3 on all of them, so we'll find out once we get the cylinder heads off. Hopefully we see some dish pistons, and that means we got a 5.3, and we're gonna build this thing. Hopefully get my Firebird running and burning tires soon. Well, this is what I'm starting with here. First thing I noticed, it does have steel shim gaskets, so it's older than, or it's newer than the 99 that I used, because I think 99 and 2000 had a composite gasket, not the steel shim. So that's a good sign that it's a little newer. I don't know if this happened in removal or if it was in a bad accident, but I can see this valve cover's busted and pushed in. I'm gonna have to make sure I check the block really good for any cracks or damage that may have been impact related. But I pulled this off the scrap pile, literally. It was not anything more than a core engine that they took out of a vehicle that they were junking. So with that, my first step is gonna be grab some tools. I'm going to start with pulling the intake and the cylinder heads off to determine whether or not I have myself a 4.8 or a 5.3. I really want to keep it a 5.3. I think the cubic inch displacement is, you know, having a little bit extra displacement on a naturally aspirated engine is going to give me more power. All right, so with that, here we go. I'm going to get this thing stripped down. And one of the better things about taking apart an engine like this is I don't have to save any of the parts because it's all junk except for what I need. So we're going to go through, get intake, and everything else ripped off of it, and see what's inside. All right, so I got the intake off of this, and you can see the valve cover's completely crushed, and so is the coil. I'm not sure if that happened after they took it out and they just kind of threw it, because I know they weren't keeping it. It was in the scrap pile to get rid of, or if that was in an accident and crushed it. Shouldn't hurt the bottom end of the engine, but that's just something I noticed. So we'll go ahead and keep pulling this thing apart and We'll get the coils ripped off, valve covers, and this cylinder head, and I'll be able to know what size the engine is. This is kind of the moment of truth of whether or not I have a 4.8 or a 5.3. As soon as I pull this head off, I should be able to identify it by looking at the top of the piston. So let's see what we got here. And my day has been, damn it, I got a 4.8. Well, all right. Not what I was hoping for. Show you what I found here. Okay, so the top of the piston, if it's a flathead like this and it doesn't have a dish with a plus in it, it means you have a 4.8. This is going to be a 4.8 almost 100%. I think there's a couple exceptions to the dish piston rule, but just by looking in here, this is going to be a 4.8. I don't want to use this block or crank for that matter. I am, because he gave me this, I am going to finish tearing it apart and see if there's any actual damage to it or if it wasn't an accident. But just to see if maybe it was completely ruined on the inside. I'll finish getting the oil pan and the other cylinder head off, but this engine is pretty much worthless to me. He said he has a stack of them, so I'm gonna get a 5.3 instead of a 4.8. I think it just makes sense if I have the option. All right, so say you got your heads off and you just want to verify the size, whether it's a 4.8 or a 5.3. The difference between them is whether or not the bore, the stroke is either 83 millimeters or 92 millimeters. So measuring from the top to the piston, I have 83 millimeters, 82.7, but yeah, 100%. This is a 4.8 liter. Didn't really go exactly as I planned. I was really hoping that I would have got a 5.3, but this 4.8 is completely usable. I'm gonna take it back to him. He can either throw it in the junk pile or throw it in a bag. It's up to him. Well, kind of sucky. I was hoping to have an engine for this weekend. I did just message somebody on Facebook that has a, I don't remember what it was, a 05 or something like that, 5.3 that's for sale as a short block. Or, I'm sorry, as a complete engine, but it's supposed to have a noise in it. So, said it had 40 pounds of oil pressure when they took it out. So I'm hoping the bottom end's good. He said he thought it was a lifter noise as far as the post, but I've had trouble trying to get a hold of him. I messaged him 3 times. He responded once and hasn't responded back again. But I left the salvage yard empty-handed again. Well, so the engine was a miss. We got a 4.8. That's not going to work for me. At least it turned out to be a beautiful day. I know there is some possible weather tonight, but it rained like every night, and during the day it's been nice. So hopefully that continues, and maybe we'll be able to hit the East Dubuque car show tonight. Not sure what I'm going to take because, well, I have a couple options. But maybe we try and change the oil in that black Firebird, and maybe I take that into town today for the first time ever. I put the mirror on it so I can drive it. I don't know. We'll have to see what I end up doing today, but as of right now, my hopeful goal of picking up a 5.3 today and having a bottom end to put back in my Firebird so I can get that car put back together turned out to be a complete waste of time. The mom also brought her kittens out of the tree. These baby kittens were up in a tree until this morning, so she brought them out because they're getting big enough that I think she was afraid they're going to fall out of the tree. But she's got 2 of them there. I think we found a home for one of them already, which we have to I'm fighting over the same one. That's kind of funny. Kittens are cute, but they grow up to be cats, and we have too many of those. Well, so I gave it a little bit of thought, and to take that black car with the door needing to be painted, and I haven't changed the oil yet, blah, blah, blah. We're going to take the Camaro because this one just works. So I am going to cold start the Camaro again. Like that, this car fires up every time. We'll pulled out, warm it up a little bit, and we'll be ready to go for a cruise. Absolute beautiful night. We actually made it here around 5 o'clock, so we found a parking spot on the street.
Good job, us.
So yeah, we're gonna go check out who's all here and listen to some tunes.
I have some people to run into.
Actually the first 50-50 drawing. Well, it's 7:30, 50-50 is over, and
I lost.
Again. So we're leaving. Had a delicious Philly steak sandwich, and we're headed out from the car show as we lost 50-50 again.
We were only 2 numbers off this time though. I feel like I'm getting closer.
It appears the rain, but look, it's like clear skies, and we're getting rained on right now. This is crazy. There's like one cloud, while there's a couple clouds, but
there's not.
Yeah, we just got a little bit drenched here. We're gonna chance it and keep driving. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for my Thursday. Made it back home with just a little bit of rain showers and didn't even put the tops on. Wasn't a big deal. For the most part, the sun was out. So thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.